This man is about to buy a car. He's thought long and hard, looked around, and has decided to commit to a purchase. But the salesman today is not going to have much joy when he tries to sell him anything from the option list.
Hi Phil.
Morning Mark. Nice to see you again.
Nice to see you.
Have a seat.
Thank you very much. Decided on the car.
Good. Is it the Coupe S that you were looking at a couple of weeks ago?
Yeah.
The car you had a look at was a very, very good specification vehicle again. It had a pack which we call the chili pack.
Not interested really. I can't understand actually why no one has done it before.
It includes air conditioning.
Definitely not really interested in aircon.
Strange. Most people are quite keen on that.
Yeah, I've got kind of a project really. Yeah, I've got this mad idea. And I don't require any of those specifications. We're going to build it into a rally car. Rally car. Rally car.
There are those that say that every car really wants to be a Mini. You've got to say that everyone loves the Mini. It looks and handles fantastically, has an A1 image, and is the latest incarnation of a classic heritage. But there's one Mini adventure this bundle of fun has never taken on. It's never enjoyed the ruts and rocks of the Forest Trail as a fully fledged rally car, like say this Astra. Now wouldn't that be an adventure?
It's a nice looking car. It's a shame about the wheels, they're having to come off. And,
yeah, and in fact, everything, the interior, the whole lot.
Really? Everything?
Yeah.
Oh.
Yeah, they are nice wheels, aren't they?
Yeah.
Still, it's going to look fantastic as a rally car.
It is.
And the cage and everything that will go in here.
Right.
It's going to make
As you say, it will look tremendously different than it does today.
Indeed, yeah. But all this nice trim and everything is going to be ripped out.
Mark Nuttall's been into rallying for many years, and if he pulls this project off, he's in line to make a real name for himself in the motorsport community.
I've been driving rally cars since 1995 when I started in Skodas. I did that for 3-4 years, and then I moved on to the Ford Car Rally Championship. Ultimately, I moved into the Polo Championship. They were all Group N cars, which basically means a showroom specification.
But why does rallying in particular grab Mark's enthusiasm?
It's like guiding a missile that's on ball bearings. You have to preempt what's coming up on the corner. You've got to put the instruction into the car to make it go around that bend. And that's something you've got to learn because it's something totally alien to anything that you've ever done before.
But now Mark set himself the biggest challenge of his life.
And hopefully we are going to be the first people ever to rally this car in a British National Forest event.
But why the Mini? The classic Mini was obviously a sensation on and off the track. A breakthrough in styling, packaging and engineering. The 4 wheels on each corner ensured it would stick to corners like glue. The new BMW Mini has shown its nimble characteristics too, with events such as the John Cooper Challenge. But this is on tarmac. To create a rally version of the new Mini would be a serious challenge in itself.
The main difference between the old Mini and the new Mini is that in the old Mini's case, it came along at a time when cars were not as developed as they are today. So the playing field was more equal. And because the Mini was so sure-footed and the centre of gravity was so low, it could get around bends very, very quickly. The new Mini, I know from people I've spoken to, have all frowned upon the fact that it won't have enough suspension travel. That is the main area that we have to address with this car. The car I want to build is an all-singing, all-dancing rally car with attention to detail on every aspect of the car, especially the suspension.
But why is the suspension on a rally car so important?
The standard dampers on any road car are not suitable for forest rallying. They're both made to a price and also made to give a satisfactory ride for normal people to do their normal daily motoring.
The looming suspension problem would need to be addressed in good time. But for now, Mark's new Mini would start its adventure here in Padiham, Lancashire, where a team of Mini specialists at Minisport would see the project through with the help of various other experts.
My initial thoughts when I got the telephone call was, oh my God, somebody else wants something for nothing.
Hey,
Hey Mark, I got it. Good to see you.
right.
I think we're probably one of the best people to come to for this project. With 40 years of experience, I have a lot of experience in modern day rallying, for rallying other vehicles and running other people in other vehicles.
So, what is the first job?
My first job, I think, Mark, is to we'll get it on the ramp. We'll have a look at it together. We'll go through it. I'll tell you exactly what my feelings are, what we should do, and go on from there. I think. Classic Mini made its mark in rallying. It sold cars because of the rallying and the competition it went into. Most people remember the old Classic Minis, of the Montes, the Monte Carlo rallies, etc. BMW haven't picked this up, I feel, because they don't want the two cars to be compared. They've produced a brand new car. They've still called it Mini because of the name, but it is a new car and they want to send that down its own lines.
So, Mark's new Mini Cooper S may be just hours old from the showroom, but already Mark and Daniel are deep in discussion about what to rip off and what to put on the car to transform it into the competitive rallying challenger.
We're really limited with the way that the car's designed, that we're going to have to keep this front end set
What
up.
about the suspension?
The springs and the shock absorbers, there is some inherent problems with the shock absorbers.
Oh, problems! Don't give me problems.
Well, I think we can get around them. The main thing is that the spring, when the car's sat on the floor, is very, very short, and everything rides above the tyre. And what we need to do for gravel is we need to have a longer spring, get more suspension travel with the shock absorbers. New Mini hasn't really been pushed into its limits for competition as we see it today. The Cooper Challenge cars, for argument's sake, are basically a car you could still go shopping in. They're designed that way. You can take them on the track, you go hill climbing. We're trying to get a car here that you go and use on gravel, which is forest. The surface is different, the terrain is horrendously rough. That's where we're trying to push this car.
So, strengthen these, new suspension on the front.
Yeah, strengthen these, strengthen the subframe.
Yeah. Get rid of this?
Well, no, we can't get rid of the catalyst, obviously for regulations and everything else, but we will have a new exhaust system made for it, incorporating a special catalyst.
Okay.
The Mini Cooper S's gearbox has been set up for optimum driving enjoyment and practicality under normal tarmac driving conditions. For Mark Nuttall's rally project, though, the box is hopelessly unsuitable, and yes, it's got to go as well.
The gears are very, very good, but the problem is with the car, it's geared for 177 miles an hour. It's really, Mark, I don't think you want to be doing in the forest. So we've got quite a bit of work to do with the gear ratios, I think.
In a forest event, it's not top speed that you need so much as acceleration. So the current Mini is probably geared too high. So we need to look at that, gear it down. Okay, a box of bits, Daniel. What are we doing to this then?
It's the internals of a 6-speed gearbox out of the car. This is where we set off with the gear ratios and basically trying to work out what we're going to do with it.
So you've actually sat down with a piece of paper and you've designed this new gearbox, and you have designed what speed it's going to achieve in each gear.
Yeah, I've sat down and worked all these ratios out of what I want to see happen.
Dedicated man. We also need to strengthen that gearbox a little bit. The pattern of the teeth is going to be, instead of being helicoiled, which is sort of diagonal, it's going to be horizontal across. Make a lot more noise, but it'll be a stronger gearbox at the end of the day.
The Cooper S is a very well-made car, but there are quite a few Achilles heels underneath that need addressing for this project. For normal road driving, there's no problem having exposed fuel and brake lines, but in the harsh world of motorsport, they won't be good enough.
The brake lines and fuel lines and the electric cable, because the batteries in the boot will all be run inside the car, obviously for the same reasons.
Obviously to stop stones hitting it and...
Yeah, yes. The last thing we want is a fire or you to lose the brakes.
But protecting the car is the least of the guy's problems. The main reason it is generally considered why the new Mini hasn't been a natural choice for rally use is because of its low ride height and the lack of suspension travel.
The biggest problem for us, Mark, with the whole project is the front suspension, is this strut area here.
This is the main reason why BMW, I think, don't think we can get this car on the gravel.
Very much so, yes. Yeah, it's a big problem. When Mark first telephoned me and we had the initial conversations about the project, I went away, sat long and hard and thought, what are the pitfalls of this car? Biggest problem I could see, we could get the power, we could get the brakes, we could do the safety features, but could we get the suspension correct?
Mark and Daniel decided to bring in one of Europe's top experts in suspension and damping systems to help design and manufacture kit with just the characteristics they need. Gordon Birtwhistle has been involved in designing suspension systems since the 1960s.
Designing a damper is a fair challenge, really, if you're working on a car which is essentially a production car. When you take the Mini Cooper, for example, the car has been designed to do certain functions. It has to look good, handle well, and be acceptable to 99% of people who buy it. So when you come to make something that's got to go through a forest at high speed, the parameters are different. So in this case, we've looked carefully at the basic car to run the car at, say, 60 millimetres higher than the road car. That gives us more travel for the suspension to absorb the more aggressive road surfaces.
Meanwhile, back in Lancashire, Daniel has been thinking of an adaptation of his own so that Gordon's new suspension system can be fitted to their Mini.
Yeah, Mark, something I knocked up earlier, a bit of a sketch. Plate for the strut top. As we said before, the car's going to get a hell of a pounding in the forest. We need some strength in there. It's a 6mm steel plate that we're going to weld on the top. Lift it up, gives a little bit more suspension travel. Let me show you on the car.
Will this be slightly higher then?
Yes.
Platform?
The platform will be raised by about 25mm.
Okay.
Let me show you. Right, Mark. Front suspension. Problem that we've got here is the size of the front spring, the length of travel. And when I was showing you the plate before, Mark, the plate goes up here. We weld it in up here. It gives us about 25mm extra height for the shock absorber. We're going to narrow the spring off, so it'll drop down the back of the wheel. As it stands now, the wheel comes to here and it sits in here. We want to narrow it off and bring it down.
So basically, in short, we have to make this suspension bigger and accommodate it by welding in the top plates.
We need to make it longer. We need the travel. The basic travel on the car from standard is far too short for what we want.
Okay.
We need to get the ground clearance. We need to make it all longer.
The brakes are another important consideration when creating a rally car. They won't just need to cope with a leisurely run to the wine bar or a motorway sprint. We're talking about extremely heavy use in a professional sporting environment.
Yeah, the major points to take into consideration when you're manufacturing calipers for a competition car would be, the punishment that these parts can get in a rally is incredible, really. So you've got heat dissipation and actually a reasonable strength, the stiffness of the actual caliper. We've actually pared the caliper down as much possible to keep the weight down as well. So there's a happy medium between the two. You want a certain amount of strength and then you want reasonably light, but it's got to work and it's got to survive the rally. The main difference between this caliper and the old Mini caliper is that this is actually machined from one solid piece of material. It's not two halves held together with screws. So the flex and the weight of the caliper is, flex is greatly reduced and the weight's greatly reduced due to being one piece of material. It's a far better way of making calipers. There's very, very few automotive calipers done that way.
Meanwhile, back in Padiham, Mark's new Mini has been started to be stripped apart. The bits are stored on a shelf, but there's no way this particular car will ever be returned to normal road use. Virtually everything has got to be taken out, because that's the only way a professional roll cage can be installed. While the lads are stripping the Mini out at Soham near Cambridge, a specialist roll cage company, Safety Devices, are busy designing and building the parts that will fit inside.
There are various types of safety cages, but for motorsport purposes there are really only two. There's the bolt-in type, which you would as a customer receive in knockdown form, packaged up, delivered to your premises, and you would bolt it together and fit it inside the vehicle yourself with nuts, bolts and screws, just by drilling a few holes. The other type, the more advanced type, is a welding cage, by which it's put together as a kit of parts and then taken piece by piece in through the doorway of the vehicle and erected in the car by welding. And it's completely connected to the body shell itself at all points around the periphery of the roof as well. We're fitting a welding cage into the Mini. It's normal conventional CDS material. It's going to be for national motorsport. It's not the top level international type of a vehicle. And the level of, shall we say, protection that we're giving is the maximum from the point of view of the layout of the cage. It's exactly the same as Colin McRae would have in one of his works cars to the new regulations which came into force last year.
As Tony and his team prepare the new roll cage, Mark's Mini, well, what's left of Mark's new Mini, is lifted onto the transporter, ready for its journey to Cambridge to get its roll cage fitted. On its return, the real work will have to begin.
We can't do the roll cage in-house. A very, very specialist process. They go through all sorts of testing procedures before the cages are allowed to be fitted. Very specialist job. It's something that we can't do here. We would much rather send it out to somebody that we trust.
For the welding cage, it's a lot easier because you already know that if a customer is going to have a welding cage, that car is going to be dedicated for motorsport. It's never going to be used for anything else. You put all the cross tubes and the cross bracing in there. It means that the dogs and the family are never going to ever go back in that car again.
The bad news is that even with all the stuff stripped from the car, the addition of a heavy metal roll cage will actually add over 35 kilograms.
The new regulations came into force, would you believe, a year ago. We've only lived 30 years with the current regulations, but from now, unfortunately, it's added considerable amount of weight. It's about probably 35 kilograms has been added to that car. So if you get a short co-driver, you could probably compensate for it by getting a gnome or something like that to really reading the pace notes and reading the maps.
Join us in part 2, when Daniel and his team start the hard work of creating the final rally car, when the Mini, complete with fitted roll cage, returns from Cambridge, and the little car continues its adventure from a cosy Lancashire showroom into a rally sport superstar. This is the story of one man and his obsession. It's also the story of a team of talented engineers and designers who are helping him realize the ambition. Rally driver Mark Nuttall wants to be the very first person to take a new Mini on a grueling forest rally event. Nobody has ever done it before, and our cameras have followed every stage from buying the Mini Cooper S at a main dealer, the inspection and discussion of what should be done, to the total stripping out of the car so that the professional roll cage can be fitted.
And hopefully we are going to be the first people ever to rally this car in a British National Forest event.
Hey,
All right, yeah. How are you doing?
All right.
Rob.
All right.
Okay, yeah. Blimey, this looks different, doesn't it?
Just a bit.
Wow, fantastic. This has all changed as well.
Yeah,
What have you done to that?
The new strut tops that we were talking about to take the Proflex.
Right, so all this is brand new then?
Yeah, it's a new top. We've raised the top by 20 millimetres. We've done the turret tops. It's been and had the cage, the roll cage fitted, which has then been brought through the bulkhead, also to fasten to the turrets. The bulkhead has been seam welded around the front chassis legs for extra strength. And as we go around looking the car, the cage, as you see, is absolutely, well, it's phenomenal. Well,
yeah.
You've got the cage.
Looks extremely strong, doesn't it?
Yes, yeah, double door bars. We've had this extra bar fitted here, which is as latest specifications as you would see on a WRC car. The double rear cross, again for latest FIA specifications. Seat brackets into the floor, the seat belt mountings have all been put in. All the floor area has been seam welded. All the excess holes that were in the floor for the original drainage points have all been welded up. We don't need that. It's looking good. Looking very, very good.
Fantastic.
Can't wait to see it running now.
No.
It's a lot of time to spend on it yet.
The outside looks great, but what does Mark think about the interior?
Inside the car, where have the holes gone for the gear lever?
We blocked the gear lever hole up.
I can see that.
Because the car's going on gravel, we want as little as possible underneath the car. The more that we leave under there, we've got to guard. So I'm going to bring the gear lever inside the car, mount it on top of the tunnel, like so.
Yeah.
This allows us to shorten the gear stick as well. Just give you a shorter shift on the stick, more positive, and also allows us to then position
hydraulic
handbrake, which you would see in more modern day WRC type cars and kit cars.
When do you reckon this will be done by then? How many weeks?
We would like to see the car back on its wheels within 2 weeks.
2 weeks? Wow.
Mark Nuttall may be confident his car will be ready, but what about the human side of the equation? Mark knows he needs to get experience of the Grisdale stages where his main rally is diaried to take part. The Mini obviously won't be ready in time, so he's decided to take out a Class N Astra and take part in an earlier rally to get the lay of the land.
It should be a very interesting day. I haven't met my navigator yet. I've never even seen the car I'm going to do this event in, and that's in 4 days' time. I believe it's a Group N Astra 2-litre left-hand drive.
This 16-valve Vauxhall won't handle like they expect the Mini will, but that's not important now. What is the issue is whether Mark will get on well with his new co-driver, Chris Campbell, who he hasn't even met yet.
My role within the team is co-driver to Mark. Co-driving consists of basically managing the team on the day of the rally. So as a co-driver, it's my job to sort out the movements of everybody, where they need to be at what time, when the servicing is and what time it is, and getting most importantly the rally car from A to B as well.
A co-driver is very, very important to the team. He's the guy who's responsible for everything that happens on the day.
I've actually been co-driving on and off for about 8 years now. It started originally on a road rallying in 1986, but as road rallying died a little bit of a death, it all stopped really. And then through the early 90s started with the team and doing chase car duties, navigating the chase car and servicing for the car on events. And then stopped up from there doing the odd event or two, and it's just gone on from there really.
It's the morning of the Astra Rally at the Grisdale stages, and Mark has concerns about the handling.
Nice. All right. Just do it with a bit of bias towards the front.
Yeah.
And maybe take a bit of rebound off the back.
Yeah.
I just want it sharpening up a bit on the front because I'm using the left foot.
Yeah.
And it's just a bit numb turning in.
But with every member of the engineering team with things to do, all Mark can do at this point is to rest and get some energy until he can talk tactics to his new co-driver.
Hiya, Chris.
Yeah, morning Mark.
Pleased to meet you.
Yeah, and you, how are you?
Heard a lot about you.
Good, all right, good, all bad.
A bit of both. So you're up for this co-driving in the Mini then?
Yeah, certainly am. Yeah, spoke to Daniel about it a few times and he's filled me in on the idea of the project and everything.
Yeah.
So
I'm looking forward to
sounds like
it.
An exciting thing to do. So,
Yeah, I think we're going to do the rally in the Astra first and see if we gel. And
the Grisdale. Yeah.
And we'll get that under our belt and see how we get on and then take it from there.
Yeah, that's a good one to do to start with. So
okay. Shall we have a chat about that?
Yeah, let's do that. Cheers.
Mark and Chris have to learn about each other very fast, as testing has just got underway.
Whilst the Mini's being prepared back at the workshop, we've taken this opportunity for myself and Chris to come out to get to know each other on the Grisdale stages up here in the Lake District. So we've brought out another car, which is an Astra, 2 litre normally aspirated Astra. And hopefully we're just going to have a good day, get to know each other, take it kind of easy but have a little bit of fun as well. We've chosen the Grisdale stages because it's going to be similar stages to the Malcolm Wilson, which is the rally we've chosen to do the Mini on. I believe from talking to other drivers it's a slightly different surface to other rallies that I've done, so it's a time to try and get used to that, and also it's the first time that Chris and myself have got together in a car, so it'll be a time to see whether we bond or not.
But a spot of heavy action has paid its toll on the Astra.
Not a lot to describe going up here, really. It's a lower place, isn't it?
No, this is not right.
That's not right, that is it?
Not right.
Is that shafting properly?
No, I mean it's broken shaft.
Is it? It's not shafted. Right.
Is that me then?
That's you. I've heard of him going, but I've never seen him do it.
The rally's over. The Astra gets jacked up again and Mark deservedly gets to fill his face. The team are buoyant about the project's future.
We've had a great day. Chris and I got on really well. The car performed superbly, although I snapped a drive shaft on the last 2 stages, so but that's no problem, because the whole idea of the day was to get to know each other, get to know the car, get back into it. Felt fantastic. Had a great time.
We're getting on very well in the car. We're going nice and smoothly. We're not out to win any prizes. We're here today to have a good run round, get used to each other, and just have a good day out in the car and get the team working together.
I don't foresee any problems. I mean, there's bound to be teething problems originally. There's bound to be things that will work extremely well, and there's got to be other bits that's got to be tweaked. But at the end of the day, I don't think it's anything they can't surmount.
The test rally with the Astra was generally a great success, and everyone is more confident about the main Mini rally that Mark and Chris are going to enter together. So confident, in fact, that they've decided to give themselves an even more difficult deadline than the rally. They want to show the car off at the NEC Autosport Show.
Hi, Dan.
Oh yeah, all right.
How are you doing?
Great.
Looking fantastic. Still?
Still.
Looks a bit unfinished though, to say we've got to hit a deadline in 2 days.
No problem there. No problem. We'll sort it.
Am I concerned at all? Yeah, I am a bit, really. It's 2 days before the Autosport Show, and just seeing the car now, it looks fantastic, but they take so long to do these cars, and every detail has to be right. I mean, the car is going to be standing alongside Formula One cars and other rally cars. It's got to look the part. So what have you done to it then? Let's have a look.
Well,
got all the suspension on?
All the suspension's mounted front and rear. Just on we're finishing brake pipes off and everything.
All those niggly little things?
All those little bits of jobs, yeah. I think the major thing we've to do is put the engine in yet, but...
The engine? It's got to be at the Autosport in 2 days. Will it make it?
Minor detail. For 48 hours. A couple of nights.
Right, let's have a look in there. Oh, you've got all the gear levers in.
Yeah, gear lever, handbrake.
Handbrake.
Bias valve.
Hey, Rob. Right, Mark. What about all the Kevlar guards and stuff like
They'll
that?
be here today.
Will they?
They'll be in today, yeah.
Yeah.
No problem
And
at all.
are you going to get all the livery on it?
This afternoon.
So it's going to look like a finished car?
Yeah, by tonight it'll look like a finished car, apart from an engine.
You're hopeful?
Yeah, that's no problems.
I'm sure it'll be ready, but it just, I don't know, it's got to have the decals on, the wheels are not ready, the brakes are not on it, the engine's not in it, the gearbox is not even there, the diff's not in it.
I think Mark's got a few concerns that the car's not going to be ready for the show. I don't have any concerns. I think we're confident that we can get it there, no problems. She's looking good though, isn't she?
She's looking fantastic, yeah. I mean, I can't believe it. Last time we were here, it was just a shell, wasn't it?
Yeah.
So let's have a look inside here.
Yeah, we've...
I like these. Nice.
It's very difficult to fit the bonnet pins on the standard bonnet pins on the onto this shell, so it's an idea that we've come with to leave the standard catches in but pull them from the front.
Yeah. So basically, for the show, you're just going to make this minimum
Yes, yeah.
things on it as possible.
Yeah,
as needed.
it won't be ready to put into the forest for the show, but we'll get it there so it looks the part.
Yeah.
Well, what's the point of creating a world first when you can't tell the world about it? Here at the NEC, the new Mini rally car is making waves.
As you can see, it's here, it's gleaming. The only thing that's missing is there's no engine in it, but nobody knows. It's in full livery, it looks fantastic. It's getting a lot of reaction from the public, as you probably can see, people stopping, talking. I can't wait to get the car onto gravel now.
The show is also an opportunity to meet the wheel maker.
We wanted to get involved with this project because we were involved at the onset of the Mini as a competition car in the 60s, and it's very appropriate for us to be at the start of the new Mini's competition history. These wheels are different because they're specifically designed for competition. They have stronger rim edges, they're heat treated, and they tend to have steel inserts put in them which prevent wear around the holes where the nuts go, which is essential for competition purposes, because the wheels are, unlike a road car, the wheels are coming off all the time, and you don't want to be wearing away the base material.
The big friendly headlights on the new Mini are very appealing, but aren't actually that powerful for rallying use. So Mark and Daniel and the team have had to seek out professional advice for their car's lighting system.
What you've got here on the car, Mark, is what's called Illuminator Xenon, and this was developed for the World Rally cars you see today. You've got pencil beam and flood beam. The pencil beam, can you believe, gives you a beam of up to 1,200 metres, and at one lux you can actually read a newspaper with a pair of binoculars at 1 mile.
The Autosport show is the first opportunity that Mark Nuttall and his co-driver Chris have had to actually get inside the Mini, as they'll see it on that all-important rally day, which is weeks away. The road version of the Cooper S, which this was when it was bought, has a mean set of brakes, but experts hope technology was brought in to help the team design a braking system that'll be effective and reliable in the rigours of a competition rally.
So you actually get the material stock aluminium, cut the bar to appropriate size and things, and produces a billet of material ready to go onto the actual 5-axis machine. A few years ago you would have had to do that in sort of 5 or 6 different operations on 5 or 6 different machines, but the advancement of CNC machines has enabled us to do it on one machine, just on the 5-axis machine. So once it's been produced like that, we take it off and it goes through a chemical process of anodising and then laser marking, and then we assemble it with the pistons and blade nipples and other parts ready to go on the car.
The car is taking shape with no major problems, but the rally itself is weeks away, and of course it hasn't been tested yet at all.
The Mini is a brand new project. Everything has had to be made or manufactured, fabricated to fit onto this car. If you go for an Impreza or an Astra or an Escort, they're off-the-shelf parts that have been developed over a period of years. This is totally brand new.
And the engine hasn't even been fitted yet. So join us in the last part of Mini's first rally adventure as the team prepare for the all-important test day and for the Mini's first rally event itself. Hello and welcome back to Mini's first rally adventure as we follow Mark Nuttall and the team of experts who want to beat the world to get a new BMW Mini on a forest rally stage. The glitches in the project had mainly been second-guessing the BMW design team.
The wiring of the car, to all intents and purposes, BMW have done quite a few little tricks in the wiring, and there's a lot more in there than you would see in an older car. We've had to strip the loom back and take all the unnecessary wires out. And that's taken a couple of extra days longer than what we wanted to see.
And now it's time for Mark and Chris to get fitted out for their rally suits for the big day. It's time to relax a little and remember why rallying's such great fun. The car is nearing completion and Daniel's got the livery plans finalised after negotiations with the sponsors.
The design for the livery on the car has been now finalised. We have some visuals of it, and the way that the car is coming together, I feel that we have the new Formula 2 car in the making.
The car seems ready, but everything has to be tested in situ. The Precious Mini is taken to Yorkshire for the test day. The pressure really is on driver Mark Nuttall to take the machine to the limits as well as looking after it for the big rally day itself.
My biggest fear is Mark crashing.
Ultimately, at the end of the day, it's down to me and my co-driver on that rally to get that car to the end. That is my main goal, to finish that rally.
This day will be a big test for the new suspension system, which is radically different from the original road model of the Cooper S.
We've got the damper design. The damper looks good on paper. We've sorted the springing out to the best of our abilities on paper, but obviously the test is what we're all anxious to do.
Mark and Chris are looking forward to their first drive of the Rally Mini, and the engineers are working hard to ensure nothing goes wrong.
Well, with it being the first time the Mini being out, we always come a few complications, but everything seems to be going fine at the moment.
Everything was fine until it appeared the car had a mind of its own. Watch the Mini very closely behind.
Here we are in Cropton, up in North Yorkshire, and it's test day for the Mini. It's the first time the car has ever run. In fact, up to this point, they were still in the garage last night, spanner in the car. It's only run.
So why did the car start on its own and reverse?
That was only something minor. A ghost, we put it down to.
Rob, the engineer, gave us a lowdown on what he thinks happened.
Basically, the mains cable shorted out on the solenoid on the starter, which gave it a direct feed of power. And we, being in gear at the time, it decided it was going to drive itself up the road.
Everything was going well until it appeared that something was getting very hot at the rear.
What it is, the tank's not covered over exhaust, so I think what's happened is stone's gone into the tank over exhaust. Well, you can see it, it's all melted above exhaust.
There was nothing for it but to push it up the base and take a closer look at the damage.
Exhaust is too close to the tank. Of course, with all the heat and everything. But the tank melted, petrol fell, it's ignited, so we were lucky there, really lucky.
I could smell plastic and I couldn't decide, I'm not knowing the tank was there, I weren't sure.
Despite the major setback, spirits are high.
Just get a paint in with a bit of piping. I'm like co-driver all day. I like more pressure, I'm like co-driver. And then stick paint in and let him hold it.
Overall, however, the Mini's first test day was a huge success.
Elated with how the car handles and brakes. It's beyond anything I'd ever hoped, really. Straight out of the box, the car is just there.
With the rally 24 hours away, Mark's beginning to have doubts of the Mini's capabilities.
The main problem we're going to have with this car on the rally is because it's not homologated, in other words, a specification laid down by the manufacturer, it will have to run in what's called Group B, and cars it will be in the same class as, such as the Mitsubishi and the Impreza, they're four-wheel drive, we're two-wheel drive, so straight away there's a disadvantage.
As you said, it's not been done before. It needs a lot of committed people to make the project happen.
The day before the big rally, and the Mini has finally been completed and checked out. The underside has been transformed with a new exhaust and protection for the rigours of the rally ahead, and to prevent another fire.
Basically, we've made a heat shield over the tank, and hopefully this will deflect the heat from the exhaust, and therefore won't have the same problem we had in test.
Daniel Harper has the honour of driving the potential rally star onto the trailer. Next stop, the Malcolm Wilson stages in Cumbria. It's the morning of the rally and the team are in good spirits.
The car is fantastic. I can't say enough of it. It's just down to me today to prove how good it is, really.
Hopes for today are that firstly to finish, secondly to finish without problems, and thirdly to finish well. The main thing for us today is to get round and with as least amount of problems as possible.
But little did the team know that a big problem was going to rear its ugly head here at Cockermouth, the official start. As all the cars line up for an official wave-off, everyone's very positive about the appearance of the Mini newcomer.
I think it has the potential to be a very good rally car. Certainly from a media point of view, it's going to create a lot of interest, which is good for sponsorship for the car. I think it would be really good, especially if there can be more of them that take to the stages.
Well, if it gets up the ramp, this is the first new Mini.
It's the turn of the Mini to mount the ramp, but the engine stalls and it won't start. Ironically, one of the oldest cars in the event, a Mark I Escort, has to overtake the new Mini as the fuses are frantically checked. It appears that every time Mark starts the engine, the fuel pump fuse seems to blow and also kicks in the immobiliser. Daniel arrives to try and sort the problem personally. He's not a happy man. Mark just has to sit tight and hope that time doesn't run out. Desperate situations call for desperate measures, even slapping the fuel tank. As Mark sees the dream disappear, the miracle happens. The Mini Cooper S is up and running, and at last it can officially start.
From what we've heard, he had an electrical fault just prior to the start, which has cut the fuel pump out and blown the fuel pump fuse, as far as we understand it. Just what, we're not sure, but they've got the car started and they've gone into stage last on the road, I believe.
On the first stage, all the traditional rally cars are in abundance, but the cheeky Mini is turning heads on its first ever appearance.
Five, 4, 3, 2, 1, go. And through posts. 80 slipping continues, big caution, small crest, in 2, long inside at right 4 long, 60. In 2, tight right 4.
In between stages, the new unique suspension system has to be checked and tweaked for optimum performance, while Mark talks to reporters.
And by install the braking towards the front, it really turns in beautifully then. I think the stages were just perfect, really. First 2 stages, just getting to know the car, really. It was okay, a little bit twitchy. We made some adjustments. It was bottoming out quite a lot on those stages, so we made some adjustments when we came back into first service, and they just transformed it for me. I've sort of made some tweaks of my own to the braking and things, and that last stage that we just did, stage 4, was just unbelievable. The car is fantastic. I'm really, really pleased with it. It does everything you ask it. I just can't speak highly enough of it. That last stage, we just had an absolute hoot in there. It was an absolute ball. If nothing else, that's the memory I'll go away with. Just that last stage, the car was working perfectly.
For the next stages, the precious Mini gets a sponge over. After all, it's the big star newcomer today. Everything's been checked out, and it's on to the final stages. The day's rallying is delayed into darkness due to an accident involving another car, but the Mini continues to perform well to the end. It's been a long event.
That's me, Joe. Right, we're going back up to finish now, so we'll see you back up there.
We meet up with Mark and Daniel the next day to ask how they believe the project went.
Part of this was as a development operation for next year. We're going to make a challenge championship for 2005. So the car will be developed this year further in preparation for that. We developed the car. The car is a winning car. And I'd like to say a special thank you to Daniel for putting all his time, and all the guys putting their time and their effort in. Without them, it definitely wouldn't have happened.
After 6 months of hard work, it's been really worthwhile. We've learnt a lot, and there's still a lot more to come out of the car yet.
They've got a fantastic product there, and I'm sure it'll just go on and on and on. And if you want fun in a rally car, Mini is the way to go.